So Rory, let's get to, you're being kind of quiet, so I got to bring you, I got to pull you out here a little bit and put you on the spot.
All right.
Tell me about what you actually do with the jewelry, as far as, do you use molds? How do you craft the jewelry?
We make originals out of a product called PMC, which is basically ground up silver in a clay-like medium.
Okay.
And then what we do is we sculpt it, fire it in the kiln, the binders burn off, and then we're left with our piece that I then go through and finish.
Okay.
Go through and make perfect.
And you do that sanding it?
Yeah,
or?
sanding it. Yeah, I have my little tools that I use to make it just right, and then we cast that, and then we replicate it. So we have little pieces that I stamp, and we literally get hundreds of these cast, so that I can go through and fulfill the orders that we get.
So do you do the casting, or do you send them off somewhere to have that
We
done?
have a company in Vermont that does the casting for us. Yeah,
All
so
right.
it's
So when you say the material, you take that material and you create something, a design or whatever out of it before you fire it and then cast it?
Yep.
Okay. So when you are in that creating process, actually creating what will be a mold, is that where, Cari, you kind of help define what that's actually going to look like? And are you guys using your hands, or is that done by computer, or how's that?
Oh no, hand. So
It's all
that
hands.
part is really unique, and that's really what gives our jewelry a kind of a really soft, organic look to it. And that part I do with the clay, and it's literally just like sculpting, sanding, just a whole process with clay.
All right.
Which I have a history of working with clay and sculpting, so that just fell into place perfectly. And actually, it's when we discovered that clay that it was a huge transition to where we became serious about the company, and that's when Rory got on board and learned how to work with metal and solder, and eventually set diamonds and all of that. So we transitioned from what I started with beads and gemstones, buying them and putting them together in a unique way, to discovering this clay and making our own pieces completely from scratch.
Okay.
I really pushed Cari to make her own pieces, instead of
Instead of
getting
just-
someone else's pieces and putting them together into a necklace.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So instead of just taking pieces or materials, I suppose you could say, that were already created, and then just making a design out of them, you're doing the entire thing.
Yeah.
You're taking it from concept,
scratch.
designing the pieces, and then ultimately the finished jewelry.
And that's where, oh, go ahead. No,
It's quite a process. Cari will initially make it, and then we'll look at it and think, well, how can we improve it? It needs a little bit off here. This needs to be changed just a little bit. So it's, there's quite a few steps to getting it just right at the end.
Yeah.
Do you guys do jewelry, like custom jewelry? If somebody says, I want whatever it might be, can you do that?
We can, yeah. I mean, if you can make it out of clay, then
Then you
we
can
do
make
it
it into jewelry.
Yeah. In
Really?
general, we have sort of our set collection that we add to, and if we get enough requests, like somebody will say, oh, we really just wish there was a cat charm or something like that, then we might set out to do something like that. We love hearing ideas from people. And
What's the, I don't know, I don't want to say absurd, maybe extravagant, or let's just say most unusual request that you guys have had, that you've had to go, okay, how are we going to do this?
somebody wanted us to copy a bracelet off of a movie or something, and I just had to politely somehow say, I think I just said that we couldn't make it, but actually it's because we would not do that.
Copy somebody else's.
Yeah, we wouldn't do
Is that, I mean, it would seem like from an artist standpoint, that'd be a big no-no, but is that from a legal standpoint as well? Like if you
It's
replicated
just
something,
I'm sure you could get around it, but it's just not what we do.
Yeah.
We have
it's all original.
Yeah.
Energetically, it doesn't feel right to.
Right.
You can get inspiration from other people, but you put your own twist on it. Yeah.
Where do you get your inspiration outside of, the beauty of the gorge and some of the natural things?
I was thinking of telling the story about how we, because a big component of our collection right now is that it's personalized, and that Rory hand stamps the words and names and dates and all that. And the inspiration behind that came from giving this necklace to our good friend for her baby shower. It was the first one we ever did where we hand stamped it. And we went to San Diego, and there were all these people sitting around in this room. She's opening all of her gifts, and she came to ours, and she just started bawling. She saw her daughter's name on this tag, and it just really hit her emotionally, I guess.
Wow.
And everybody was just going, "Oh my God, that is so cool! We love it!" And
that's,
this was many years ago, before it was even popular. And that, from there, we just made a whole collection that was all about personalizing, and it's just grown and grown from that.
And I heard a story, and you guys correct me on the facts of this, but you were on an airplane, I think it was, and a lady had a piece of jewelry on, and you guys got to talking with her. You didn't tell her that it was a piece of your jewelry, and she had kind of an emotional, sentimental. It had like sentimental value to her.
Right.
And tell me about that.
I actually saw this lady wearing a necklace. I said, "Oh, nice necklace." And she started telling me all about how she never takes it off. She always wears it. You know, it's got her kids' names on there, which is a really big thing for us. Is this personal connection that the clients make with the jewelry. And yeah, she could have been a salesperson for our company. That's how glowing she was.
And she had no idea that
No.
it was the two of you. That's so ironic.
Yeah.
So you knew exactly what names were on there and everything because you put them
for
there.
sure, Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's certain ones you remember too. You know, we did a little heart for a client. He was asking his fiancée to marry him, and I had to stamp, "Will you marry me?"
Really?
And I was just like, wow.
Now,
I get to do that, you know.
did your jewelry have anything to do with? Was it used in your own marriage? I mean, as far as the "Will you marry me" part, or anything? Were you guys doing jewelry by then?
Funny enough, this ring, before either one of us even thought about doing jewelry, Rory proposed, and this was 2001, I think, and he proposed with this ring that he sat down with a fine jeweler and designed. It's just
Really?
totally ironic.
I really enjoyed the process, sitting down with this guy and saying, "Well, you know, I like that ring, but I want that feature on it as well."
Yeah.
And he was able to, you know, the process was really interesting. I guess that must have planted the seed somewhere, because years later, here we are making
Yeah,
jewelry.
and you still love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
When we come back from the break, we'll get to that question of how is it to work together day in, day out and do this full time and have a family and all of that. So you guys will be right back.
Up next,
About a year before, one of the stores that our jewelry has been in for a long time said that the costume designers for Megan Fox Transformers 2 wanted to order 4 of this one necklace.